Hi, besties. You've found your community bestie to share thoughts and opinions, recap the shows we love,
Having too much fun.
Bravo should be fun.
and have piping hot gossip sessions about the celebrities and Bravo lebs we love, hate, and love to hate.
He went on a podcast claiming he had a threesome with two women from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Immediately, I was like, I wonder if it's Brandy and Carlton.
I'm Caitlin Marshall, your pop culture and Bravo bestie.
Allegedly allegations.
And if you enjoy fun conversation between friends, listening to your bestie rant about shows we can't get enough of, plus enjoy a little bit of, well, ridiculousness.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. There's a spider that is coming down. Hold on.
It's like the Blair Witch Project.
Oh my God. Has anybody seen my ring?
Oh my God.
I don't want to ruin the party or anything.
Have you seen my ring? Oh my God. Can you look on the floor for my ring? God, someone's gonna kill me.
Don't mess with me because I will come.
What? Oh.
Feel free to leave that in for whatever entertainment purposes.
You're in the right place. So thanks for joining me on Besties by Bravo. Hi, besties. Thank you for joining me today, Thursday, March 13th. We are going to be covering Summer House episode 5. Bear with me, especially if you're watching on YouTube and it seems like there are a lot of stops and starts. It's because, please God, I'm afraid to even speak it into existence, but I have had the beginnings of a sore throat the last 24 hours, and I will be damned if this happens to me for the millionth time in the last few months. But I'm trying to preserve my voice, had my tea, trying to steam that voice. Does that even work? Anyway, yeah, so if I'm a little raspier than usual, that's part of why. We're going to just pray that it's because it's so dang dry here in Colorado. Speaking of which, I heard that Kristen Doty might be moving here with her fiance, Luke. Kristen, welcome. Hi. Longtime fan. Okay, let's get into Summer House, shall we? You know, there wasn't a ton of major drama, but this was a very big informational episode. It was very informational on Craig and Paige, and it was very informational about Danielle and that friendship with Lindsay and about Lexi and Jesse. So stick with me here, my friends. We pick up at the beach where Paige and Kyle are having their chat, we'll call it, where they're hashing everything out. And you know what? I will say Kyle is at least apologizing in his own Kyle way that they're even having this conversation, saying that it felt like a personal attack last night and that it was also an attack from his view on his business. Paige tells him she's not Hannah or Craig and that she did tell Craig not to do the Spritz Society ad, but that if he was going to, he needed to have a conversation with Kyle. She also says she didn't know what Craig said in his messages to Kyle, and she felt as though she was being disregarded as Kyle's friend by him, as in by Kyle, really reiterating that she has been supportive of Kyle and his business and that she is not responsible for Hannah or Craig's actions. Facts. I mean, she's not them. Yes, they are at this time the two closest people to her that are not blood-related family. But at the end of the day, she can't tell them what to do or not do. And she wasn't there with Hannah for this podcast. She did for the BFFs podcast, it was. She also, from what she's saying, she let Craig know, look, I don't think you should do it. But if you do, you need to talk to Kyle. And she probably also added in, because you know I am going to never hear the end of it if you don't. She was in a rock and a hard place. Let's just be completely and totally real about that. Danielle and Amanda are watching them talking, and Danielle tells Amanda that the body language between Paige and Craig isn't looking great. And we're seeing Paige and Kyle's conversation from their point of view, but Amanda's like, oh, they're both passionate speakers. Like, y'all, come on. Paige is an Italian New Yorker, and he's Kyle. He's the biggest drama queen on this entire cast. Kyle is claiming that with Craig, it wasn't about Spritz being a competitor. It was more so the way Craig went about it, and that's what hurt his feelings. Then he tells Paige that he broke down crying over the text exchange between him and Craig. And Paige just goes, you crying? No. Listen, Kyle, did you run to your car or did you stick it out and spill those tears on the sofa this time? Just curious. I mean, maybe you found a new place to cry, maybe a new venue for that. The car was probably getting stale for you to really just let the tears flow. So I hope you've gotten creative with where you can cry. I mean, listen, I've had to get creative. Wait, haven't we all? The car is really the place, though. I feel like it's just the windows, people being able to see. Gosh, which have I ever told y'all? If you ever are going through it, I told one of my best friends who's going through a really sad breakup. I said, girl, this is what you need to do. Because she lives in a state that there's places to drive that there's no one around. I said, you need to take your car, make sure you're driving in an area that it's like not a neighborhood because you don't want to scare anyone. But if you are angry, you tense that whole body up and you scream the loudest, most rageful, vengeful, I'm in a war. This is Sparta scream. And you do it until you are done. No one's going to hear you. And guess what? You will feel 1,000,000 times better. Girl or guy, just don't start like hitting things in your car. Let it out through your voice. You know what I'm saying? Anywho, Paige is telling Kyle, look, I get what you're saying. And he admits he knows Paige can't control what the people closest to her do. But you notice in how he said the people closest to you, that's him reminding her that she should be controlling the people closest to her by saying that, as opposed to simply saying she can't control what Hannah and Craig do. He's like, they are your closest people. And I want you to remember that I'm giving you this pass, Paige. She tells him she doesn't want to be in the middle of something again and that they'll always be friends. And she does remind Kyle that Craig will be coming to the house next weekend. Kyle says he'll talk to Craig and that he's happy to get as quote unquote detail oriented as they need to regarding the messages and exchange they had about Craig working with Loverboy or with Spritz Society. In confessional, Paige says she knew that she and Kyle were going to be fine because Kyle's issues were with Craig and not her, but Kyle explaining his side to Craig may not go this smoothly, quickly, rapidly as it did with her because she worries they may not be the same after everything Kyle has said. But these two wrap it up. They're fine. They walk back on over to the group. Everyone's cheering and happy campers, and Kyle's just kind of like, sorry guys for making it awkward. Y'all, I'm holding in a cough right now. The way I won't say the S word, the SICK word, I refuse. So if I start looking and sounding like I am holding something in, it's a cough, okay? Just to be clear. Anywho, Lindsay asks everyone if they think she's going to get an outie with her pregnancy. And Jesse just goes, that's hot. And when Lindsay asks him if he likes an outie, he's like, no. Okay, Jesse, what was the point of that? Then Lindsay asks Sierra if she thinks her boobs will get bigger than Sierra's or if they're bigger than Amanda's. So Sierra's like, I just have to get like in with this. She goes over and does the little bouncy bounce, feeling that. I don't know why every time I see anyone doing that with their hand, it makes me think of 40-year-old virgin. Steve Carell said, when you feel a woman's chest and it feels like a bag of sand. Oh, man. Anyway, the camera during all of this pans over to Lexi immediately. And
Listen, Lexi, sweet baby, you are stunning. You're just not a big boobied babe, which is fine. The way Sierra and Amanda were blessed with face, body, boobs, it's just, it's unfair. It should have been, it should have been a mistake, except it clearly wasn't. But Lexi gets different types of modeling jobs than Sierra can with her chest size. You got to recognize that. They both are thin, tall, gorgeous, but having a fuller chest, and we're going to get more into that with the things Lexi admits, there are certain jobs with designers that they won't be hiring a woman who has a fuller chest. So it goes both ways. I mean, there's space for different body types, but yeah, it is painful how much you do get picked apart in that industry, physically and mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Lindsay says she tried to weigh her boobs when they were in Italy,
But it was in kilometers instead of pounds.
and Jesse is truly just so happy to be a part of a conversation about breasts that he'll contribute anything and everything to it. And he just goes, kilometers? Those titties move fast. Obviously, she meant kilograms, but in confessional, Lexi says that it's hard when your biggest insecurities are brought up. And listen, sweet girl, got to tell you, they're not even talking about you, which is probably also what's upsetting you, because Lexi, it sounds like in her family, is the sun around which the entire family orbits, and she's used to the nonstop attention from them. So, my love, this is also what it kind of feels like getting older as a female. But you're still in your 20s. You're still in your full blown attention is all on you phase. Okay. Let's just sit with that for a minute, though. She tells us that she's been told by agencies that she'll never book certain types of jobs because she essentially doesn't have double D's. Again, like what I was saying, honey, what do you think the girls with double D's are told? That they'll never book the high fashion that you could book. I mean, Lexi is a little bit more commercial, but, and commercial means that you're just the most gorgeous, conventionally type of beauty. But at the same time, the big boobed girls are told they can only do bikinis and lingerie sometimes and like Fashion Nova. So it's a coin that has a lot of different sides. And there's always someone on the bottom. She claims that she told Jesse he should gas up the girls, but not to act like he's trying to date them, and that she already feels insecure about herself, so she doesn't need a guy she's dating making it feel worse. Oh, sweetheart. Okay, this is another thing. There are many moments here where we see how young Lexi is. Truly, and it's not me just calling her immature or anything like that. There are certain things, especially as a woman, that you get older and you realize you did the same things that she's doing, feeling the same things that she's, felt the same things that she's feeling. And that as you get older, you're like, God, you just want to scoop them up, give them a hug, and be like, I wish you would listen to the advice that the older person here, who's not that much older, jeez, is trying to give you, truly. But I know you won't, so it doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, you are making this whole concoction for yourself where you need to add in that spice of, if he's into me, he'll show me he's more into me than he does through the silly flirting he does with these girls. Add in a little pinch of, make sure you're not disrespectful to me in our relationship. And you're sitting in the right area there. Okay. She's just doing that classic girl in her 20s thing where they've been moving a bit fast, and moving that fast can make someone wonder, hey, could he move on just as fast? But I don't even think she's realized that that's the other thought she has. West is asking Lindsay if her daughter is going to play sports or do pageants. Lindsay's like, ew, pageants? And listen, y'all know I've done the pageants myself, but child pageants, come on. No offense to anyone who lets their kid do them or did them or, whatever. But like, genuinely judging a child purely on appearance in front of an audience, and then the aftermath of when sometimes that child loses, because let's also keep it 100. There are more losers than there are winners when you enter something like that, and it's in front of an audience. Like, come on. But I didn't start mine till I was 16, and it was my decision. And it toughened me up and helped me learn a lot, that's for sure. Anyway, it's then brought up about Lindsay and Turner and how they don't live together. This, y'all, Danielle, girl, I, Danielle is freaking out that Lindsay and Turner don't live together. And she's going, yet he's put a baby inside you? Well, she was participating as well, Danielle, but okay. You would also be freaking the F out if they were living together, Danielle. You'd be telling her they were moving too fast. So, what is it that you want from your supposed friend? Because I don't see you treating Lindsay like a friend whatsoever since you stepped back onto our screens. I really don't. And it makes me sad. Lindsay says that if she wasn't pregnant, they would not be living together. So, they've only been together 6 months. And that's when Danielle just kind of mutters, well, I mean, I've done it before. Yes, darling. And how did that turn out? Just saying. Lindsay doesn't want to add further pressure to the relationship, considering the pressure of the baby is a lot. And she tells Danielle that she and Turner don't plan on him moving in, but he's going to be staying the night each night. But all Danielle hears is that they don't plan on moving in together. And she's just like, ever? Yes, Danielle, ever. I mean, Lindsay is showing growth that she learned from her previous relationships by taking that aspect of her relationship a little bit slower. I'm going to get, okay. Danielle questions how Lindsay can know if she and Turner are suitable together if they're not ever going to live together. But Lindsay's telling her she's trying to move their relationship at a normal couple pace. And y'all, I know that I tend to side with Lindsay on a lot. And it's because I have to say, she's right when she's right. And let's remember, this pregnancy was not planned, Danielle. It happened. And yes, if they didn't want to be having a baby right now, they should have taken those precautions. But it doesn't matter at this point because at this point, she is having this baby. She made the decision to go ahead and have this child. So what is your problem? I think Lindsay's being very smart about this. She's being wise. She's showing growth. She's showing more maturity because it's already so incredibly difficult having a newborn and trying to keep them alive and keep yourself alive and sane. And doing that with someone you've been in a relationship for years and living with. And if the two of them have not reached a point where they feel ready to cohabitate, then it would make it worse. And Danielle, why can't you support the fact that Lindsay is trying to ensure this relationship is healthy and solid for a child, a human being that is coming into this world? This child will need that stability. And it sounds like Lindsay and Turner are doing everything they can to make choices they feel will help ensure that, because the stronger their relationship, the better environment and better upbringing Gemma is going to have. So I do not like how Danielle is treating Lindsay. I think everything is just truly, it'll be nice to her face and then something backhanded. Who needs enemies when you have a friend like Danielle right now? It feels a mix of Danielle being jealous, also a mix of Danielle not liking that she's not going to have her party pal the way she used to. It's also a mix of Danielle probably being relieved that she's not pregnant, which is understandable. Sometimes it's that feeling. And then it's also a mix, I think, of Danielle realizing her own timeline. And I don't know that a child and marriage and all of that is something that Danielle is necessarily wanting. I'm not trying to push that on her, but it's a very archaic way of thinking and expectations that Danielle is putting on Lindsay at the moment. It's not a good look. I don't love it. In confessional, Danielle goes, a normal couple pace. I think the ship has sailed on the normal couple pace. If it's going well, why wouldn't you want him physically there all the time? Like, why give him the opportunity to not be there? I'm sorry. There is so much to that statement. Why do you assume that if a man has an opportunity to not be there for a child he assisted in creating, that he's going to run? Not every man is that way. Number one. Number two, why are you assuming he won't be there to help with this baby when she's earthside? My God. Lindsay tells Danielle that Turner lives very close to her, and Danielle says that she hates that he constantly has the out. Girl, so you're just assuming this man wants to run from Lindsay already. You think Lindsay's that much of a monster that he's ready to get the F out? Listen, I know Lindsay can be Lindsay Hubbard. She can be Hub House. She can get activated. But I mean, it's like you assume that if she doesn't handcuff him to a wall in her apartment and say he is going to live there now, he's just going to run away and just go. It's like, what is he, Jello, who's just going to slip through her hands? And Danielle is literally at this point making it sound like you have to force a man to be in your presence 24/7 or he'll run. And that is a ton of shit we don't have the license or time to unpack, right? Danielle says that she doesn't want it to feel like Lindsay is single momming this up. And Lindsay's like, it's not like that. And so what if she is? This portion, the way Danielle inserts herself into Lindsay's relationships whenever Lindsay is saying, I am happy, that's not your friend. Not your friend. The way you be a friend in that situation is you say, look, if that's what works for y'all, I'm really glad to hear it. I'm here if you need me. If anything happens, I'm here as soon as you need me. You tell me how I can support you. That is for Lindsay to make those decisions. You're not her mother. Okay? You know, sometimes as friends, we have to just shut up and let our friends do what they need to do. Much like with children, sometimes you got to let your friends learn lessons the hard way. You can try and help, but you also need to do so a little bit from an arm's length because it's not your life, period. In confessional, Lindsay is questioning why Danielle is freaked out and shocked that she and Turner don't live together and that she's doing this the right way for once, not moving too fast, and admits that, yes, she's here. She's pregnant. It moved fast, but she's trying to pump the brakes on aspects of this relationship because she's already having a baby with him. And that's enough pressure as it is. And then she makes the point that what if things don't work out with Turner? Because she has learned nothing is guaranteed. And we get the flashback of Carl calling off the wedding 2 months before they were supposed to be walking down the aisle. But she adds that it's time for her to be practical and logical in this relationship, and in her words, for once. She tells Danielle, Turner's the one who found their baby nurse, the doula. He goes to every appointment. And I'm sorry, again, Danielle has just been giving hater with Lindsay every time she's in a relationship. I get you're looking out for your friend, but it's not a cute look at this point. It really isn't. West goes up to Jesse and says that he hasn't seen him touch or talk to Lexi like hardly at all today. And Jesse tells him he talked to the girls in the car about Lexi and how she had admitted she is the jealous type. And he says things feel weird with Lexi. Here we go. He says in confessional that Lexi telling him she's a jealous type made him nervous and that he's had girls in the past that he wishes he'd given more of a chance and that they're the only regrets he actually had. So he thinks he'd regret it if he didn't at least give this a chance with Lexi. Okay, because it's only, been on you and your decision whether a relationship moves forward in your life or not. Right, Jesse? The girl had no say. It was just always you being like, I can't do it, which I believe, but at the same time, women do have thoughts and feelings. Just so you know, we do have more than boobies and booties and vaginas. Jesse brings up West leaving everyone behind at the club the night before and says that last summer West would have never done anything like that. So Jesse asks him if he hooked up with someone and West denies it, which remember, West did pretty much admit he did not sleep on that sofa alone last week in confessional. And obviously Jesse isn't believing him, telling him that he, didn't hook up with anyone, but he says that he doesn't have to hide dating and hooking up with someone, which West is just going to continue to skirt around that. So Jesse points out that if West is sneaking around hooking up with people and hiding it while intentionally keeping it from everyone, it's just not really his usual thing to do. And that's where West is like, you think I'm losing myself? Huh? What? And what is this confessional look of West's It's like I don't hate it, but I don't like it. I don't know how I feel about it. It kind of feels very random. And he looks so much like Robin Williams, it almost is a mix of maybe more of a preppy modern birdcage and a little bit of Miss Doubtfire with that scarf. Anyway, in confessional, Wes says Sierra ripped him apart and that he's just trying to protect his own peace and he's not going to be announcing his bang bang life to everybody. You want to know what I think, though? I think West is just scared of the viewers getting mad at him again, to be honest. So they're all packing up, and it's said that they need to pick up their cans. Amanda jokes, grabs her boobs, and she's like, I got mine. And Jesse says he'll grab Amanda's cans, which is going to be a thing, apparently. Paige laughing at West's jokes. She's talking with Sierra in their room, and she's saying that she was actually cracking up at West and she's going to be going to dinner with him in that group. And she's like, I will not laugh. And Sierra's like, bitch, you have been giggling all day. And Paige is like, I know. He even made me snort in the car. And I was like, if you tell Sierra, I will kill you. Sierra jokes with her, like, I will kill you. Then Lexi goes into Jesse and West's room and showers with Jesse. And let me just say, I feel like this is her kind of, well, marking her territory. She's peeing on him, wanting it to be known that she went and showered with Jesse while everyone is wide awake, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, wandering around. It's like, Jesse is mine. Just saying. But then she walks out and says, we didn't have sex. Thanks for letting me borrow your shower. Okay, well, West was not going to ask you. He was going to ask Jesse that later. So anyway, Amanda, Paige, West, and Jesse are all, and Carl are all going to dinner. And they're dressed alike except for Carl's shoes. Primary color scale green Crocs. Anything I could have really come up with to say, Lindsay really hit the nail on the head after he walks out the door. He's like, am I going to get made fun of for these? And they're like, well, yeah. Mm-hmm. He's like, whatever, they're on. She's like, as he closes the door, Lindsay just goes, did he steal those from Shrek? To have the confidence of a tall white man would just be, let me just say a tall, straight white man, that I feel like I'd be able to get so many things done and just do so many things. Wonder what that would be like. Jesse has to give a lot of reassurances to Lexi before he leaves. And, you know, I kind of wonder why Lexi never ends up going out with everyone. Like, very rarely she does. Anyway, there's a crew having dinner at the house and the other crew's going out to eat. Kyle, Sierra, Imrul, Lexi, and Lindsay are in the kitchen. And Sierra asks Kyle how it went with Paige when they were trying to smooth things over. And he's telling her essentially that he apologizes to Sierra as well and says he was so emotionally overwhelmed last night that he couldn't even string a sentence together. I mean, Kyle, you did have plenty to say for yourself that last night, but I think you realized how incredibly outmatched verbally you were with Paige and you just gave up, which probably was the correct thing to do. I would have done the same. Okay. Kyle is relaying that Paige had felt like he was questioning their friendship, which Imrul asks Kyle, you know, you and Craig have a good relationship as well, right? And Kyle kind of scoffs a bit and is like, well, you know, at least so I thought. And that he knows he's going to have this conversation with Craig next weekend. In confessional, Kyle admits he values his friendship with Paige, but values Amanda's friendship with Paige even more. Smart effing thing to say, dude. Thank you. I mean, very smart. Very smart, Kyle. Very smart. He says that Craig has said a lot of things with no attempt to clean them up. And then he says, am I the first person to catch Craig blatantly lying? No. Like, make no mistake, the guy got kicked out of my wedding. He continues to lie about it. Oh, okay. All right. Oh, I don't even know what to say. But that was when Craig was drinking significantly more. And from what I understand, it was a whole thing about which bathrooms he was allowed to use or not use. And it was a confusing thing. And he probably had some big feelings, some big toddler feelings, and got upset. But I mean, everything in this group is always blown up way out of proportion. So unfortunately, I was not there. So I don't know. He tells them in the kitchen, basically, if someone is lying, am I wrong for calling them out? No, but you also need to be careful and tread lightly in the way you call them out, Kyle. Kind of like what your wife was trying to say to you. It's not that you don't have a right to these feelings you're having and that you're not coming from a place that makes sense. It's the way you do it sometimes. Now, he was well spoken on Watch What Happens Live. I wish he had shown a little less emotion, and when I say emotion, that he hadn't shown his hand of being so angry. I think it would have been better and more beneficial to Kyle if he had really tried to play it off more as the look, I get it. It's just business. At the same time, upset me a little. Do you know what I'm saying? Show that you can be of the professional just business mindset sometimes, if that's what it's going to be about. Now, our group at dinner, Jesse asks Amanda and Carl to shift over a bit after they've ordered their drinks because Amanda and Carl are sitting next to each other on one side while it's then Paige, West, and Jesse. And he's claiming he needs to be quick-witted if he's going to keep up with Paige at the other end of his side of the table. And Paige clocks all of it. She goes, "Oh, Lexi's not here and you're back at it. Love it. In a different timeline, we're married." Interesting. Interesting. I love how Paige does not miss a beat. She misses nothing. And ain't that the thing? Jesse is trying to put on who he is for Lexi, and it's not really who he is. But then Carl pulls a Brittany Bateman with, "What about me?" Paige says she cheats on Jesse with him. And Amanda goes, "In the pantry." God, seeing this flashback of baby Paige and Carl making out in the pantry is so weird. And I forget they ever had a thing. And I would like to forget that they ever had a thing. It just, I don't know. It doesn't make sense for me. It's so random. Okay. Anyway, Paige asks Carl if he's out dating, and Carl admits that he looked at Lindsay and fully realized when they were on the beach today and she's talking about her pregnancy and the things that will change in her physically, that she's the last person he's had sex with and that it's been over a year. And Paige, she's just like, "Why are you doing that to yourself?" And he says that he could just walk outside and easily get some. Carl admits he's had opportunity, but that he's been working on his feelings. In confessional, Jesse, who cannot fathom not dipping his little dipstick in a dipper pouch. Do y'all remember those candies? Were they ever actually good? I still can't decide. Anyhow, Jesse is just like, "That's a long time, brother." West is completely like, wow, shell-shocked by this. And he teaches us about the special kind of movies that you can pay for, apparently. And it's a particular site. And he says it's like elevated in HD with good filter options. Not that I would know. Okay. You're just a baby Robin Williams, and it's not working for me. In confessional, Paige just goes, "I just love the juxtaposition. Carl became a priest, and Lindsay is pregnant with her third child." Carl admits in his confessional he's not been dating much and has been working on healing his resentment and anger with Lindsay, but that he's now seeing Lindsay has fully moved on, so he should be able to do it now too. Paige asks West if he's dating anyone, and Amanda interjects that using the word dating is a bit much when the question should be, who is he banging this week? And Paige tells West she does see how busy West is with traveling, and West says he's not technically been on a date in a long time and brings up the show he's been doing, that he's framing the interviews as a date, which has actually already been done with Chicken Shop Date. Okay. So anyway, or Chicken Shop Conversations, whatever it's called, it's essentially the same thing at the end of the day, whatever. And he had Hawk Tua girl on. Nothing against her, even though she got caught up in like digital currency scheming, whatever. But I will never forgive social media and the internet for making that girl famous over that. In Confessional, West gives us a long rundown of the crazy travel and work schedule he's had over the last week and is desperate to win back this audience and convince us he's such a super precious baby boy. Because he says that the thing that's made him the saddest for being so busy is that he doesn't have time to recycle anymore. And he gives a whole story on how he used to recycle, but he's so busy now. He can't drop the plastics and paper in one bin and his garbage in the other. Okay, sir. This hurts you more than hurting Sierra seems to have hurt you, but all right. Now we get to the meat of it all where Jesse and Lexi are brought up. Paige and Amanda relay to the other boys that Lexi being jealous was a topic in the conversation on the way to the beach, and that she had an issue with Jesse commenting on the girls' pictures, but he claims that he thought he would be leaving this weekend exclusive with Lexi, but that now he doesn't know. Okay, right, Jesse Solomon. You're trying to find any effing excuse not to commit. She was forthright and honest with you. And if it's too much, you should have said that then. This man is going to do anything and everything to find any reason he can to get out of being exclusive with her. I swear to God. It's like, Jesse, you love bombed her, rushed in, pushed it when you could not have her. And now that you know you have her, I swear to God, if he pulls a fast one, the second she gives in to him physically, I will never forgive him because I cannot forgive a man who does that type of shit. It is gutter behavior. Amanda asks him if he feels pressured to be exclusive with Lexi, and he says Lexi told him he has 1 month to decide. Oh, okay. So I have all sorts of thoughts on this as well. I do, on the one hand, appreciate a girl who says what she wants and how long she's willing to wait for it. But at the same time, it doesn't totally work with a guy like this. And you shouldn't have to be put on a timeline because if it's right, it should happen when it's supposed to without the pressure of that. If he's actually into you, you both have the conversation that you are moving toward exclusivity, and then you end up having the conversation. We're exclusive now. You can't just put the timeline on. You're not exclusive, baby girl. Go date some other men. You are not tied down to this man because I guarantee at this time, Jesse is not completely shut off from everyone else. He's got to be talking to at least one girl because he admitted he narrowed down that roster. He didn't say he wiped it clean. Okay. But Amanda has already pointed out they have only known each other for 2 weeks, and the 1 month timeline actually makes West like convulse, have a seizure, cough up his lung. He's choking. He's dying. He's like, commitment. What the hell is that? I don't know how to do anything but just bang when I'm ready to bang and be done with it. Maybe he's crying about the recycling. I don't know. Excuse me, friends. Like I said, the voice is going. I'm pushing through though, because I want to talk to you. They all go out, and West has the club, the VIP service, bring out a sign that says, "Congrats, Jesse and Lexi." Everyone gets home and they're loud and wasted. Lindsay's asleep upstairs. Danielle went to a house party instead of going out with them, and she just comes in shuffling in her flouncy, billowy white jumpsuit thing that is covered with dirt on the bottom. Amanda and Sierra film TikTok dances that Jesse and Lexi crush. And again, Lindsay's knocked out. And y'all, I do not have to be pregnant to be that person that is knocked out cold in the bed upstairs. Emerald brings home another girl, or shebang bang, for the evening. And I'm sorry, yet I'm not sorry at all. Because the sounds we hear of the bam, 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 if they're real, it sounds like he's just a bam, bam, bammer, like he's bam, 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 bam. And that does not sound at all like it would be fun or enjoyable. Plus, the juxtaposition of Amanda and Kyle being so wholesome downstairs and just being cute little adorable drunks in their room with her teaching him a TikTok dance while Imrul is just literally jackhammering this girl into a mattress is just, that's rich. Jesse and Lexi are in bed, with Jesse apparently trying to push the boundary she has already set with him and go a little further physically. And she's like, yeah, nice try, buddy. And he sounds like a typical douchebag F-boy. And he goes, can you blame me for wanting it for a second? Jeez, you're just like depriving me. Gah. Ugh. You know, I liked you for a second, Jesse. You won me over and now you have lost me. And I know you are going to lose so many nights of sleep knowing Caitlin Marshall is angry at you now. The next morning, Jesse and Lexi wake up. Oh, it's cute, precious. You know, they even sleep pretty with him like perfectly on his back and her just laying on his chest. If I am sleeping, do not touch me. I get too hot. I get annoyed. People, bodies are not comfortable to lay on. Get off me. I am not a cuddler to sleep at all. At all. And apparently Jesse is back to love bombing Lexi. He says she's so pretty and that every morning he wakes up and sees her without makeup. He's just asking himself, how is this girl this fucking pretty? Okay, like, sir, do you have anything to say about who she is as a person? I'm just wondering. He asks her how she feels about their relationship, essentially, whatever this is, the us of them. And she's like, good. And then she asks him how he feels about it. And he tells her, pretty good, which is not pretty good enough for her. So he tells her that he just wants to make sure that they're totally aligned and that they'll build that trust. His intentions are pure. Liar. Bullshit. Bullshit, mama. Bullshit. And that he wants her to trust him, that he's not going to go out there and embarrass her. But he says that it's just like a part of my personality, that I'm like a social person. She tells him again that she can be jealous too, and a jealous person to an extent. And this is a moment where I'm going to be slightly split on this whole thing she goes on about being a model, because the way I understand it, babe, because clearly I'm a model right now. Now, used to be. She tells him that being a model since she was 10, she has had her entire appearance constantly picked apart and how she's never felt like she's good enough. Y'all, listen, I get it. I really do. Because you are going to. So here's the thing. When I was like 18, I was a model. I was going to actually sign with an agency in New York City. But I remember I went to some convention, and it may have been, don't quote me on this, it might have been like elite models. At this time, I was 5'7 3/4, but I would write down on everything that I'm 5'8", because 5'8" is the minimum standard they want for models. And in front of everyone in this big room, because you go to model castings and you're in just like a tank top, shorts, heels, right? She has me stand next to her in front of a mirror. And there are 200 people in this room. Bear this in mind. She makes me take off my shoes, has me lift my shirt up just below my chest to show her my stomach, and stands next to me. And she goes, okay, thank you. Grabs my comp card, crosses out 5'8", and writes down 5'7 3/4. And I was like, okay. She just hands it to me. Thank you. Okay, all right, never mind. And the way they would measure you and the way you were expected to have what is called the keyhole of your inner thighs not touching when your feet are together. Gosh, I had an agent that I was trying to sign with tell my manager one time, she's not really ugly, but she's not really pretty, so I don't really know what to do with her. Yet during the meeting, she told me that you're just the hot beer commercial girl, aren't you? I was like, what? She's like, you're just sexy. That's all you are, huh? God damn. So all of that is to say, that is minor compared to what some people get. Okay. I understand that. It is, you try to find your own flaws before anyone else can, so you can fix them before someone can point it out. You know what I mean? Anywho, then what Lexi claims here is quite, well, I find it interesting. Lexi claims to Jesse that everyone keeps saying, Jesse's a boob guy. Jesse's a boob guy. He's surprised by this and asks who was saying that, but she says everyone. Okay, we would have seen it if anyone told her that. But instead, we get the flashback of Jesse telling Lindsay, her tits are effing huge. I mean, geez, Jesse, is there any other way you could have said that? And Lexi just watching him saying this. And Lexi, this is where you need to be upfront. Again, showing the age. You need to say, look, you kept talking about the other girls' chests and bringing up the size of them in front of me, in front of the group. And the language you used was pretty intense. While I'm sitting there as president of the Itty Bitty Titty Committee watching all of it. And listen, y'all, I, Caitlin, personally, used to be a member of the Itty Bitty Titty Committee. So I can say that. My chest, I bought them. So, okay. Anyway, I'll admit that. We're besties here. It's fine. He tells her he's not a boob guy. He's a butt guy. I personally think most straight men are whatever the girl I like has kind of men. Okay? Let's be real. Jesse follows up his whole sleepover with Lexi by walking into his room with West and letting out this giant fart that he's been holding in for 12 hours. You know what? For once, we see a man having to do that. Did I tell you all of this very embarrassing story? Oh my God. Whenever Jay and I were not first dating, when we were dating, we were enough months in, and the exclusivity and the I love you words were dropped. And then we'd been out, alcohol had been consumed. So that sloppy noodle after hours activities. And after we had said, I love you, I farted on him by accident. Yeah, that was embarrassing. We laugh about it now, but yeah. And then the next day, he found me in his bed eating chips. And I was like, hey, you're stuck with me. We said, I love you, right? That's how this works. You're basically chained to me for life now. Okay, cool. Girls fart too. Everybody poops. You're welcome. Imrul walks out to the pool after his guest. I love how they keep putting the arrow and the ding with like Imrul's new friend. Duh, we get it. We know. We don't need the we don't editors. We know. We've been watching the show long enough. Anyway, he goes out to the pool where everyone is after we know this girl that he brought back has already left. And apparently the new nickname that everyone is going to be chanting is Orgy Beast. Okay. They ask him if he even knows the name of the girl he banged last night. And he jokes that he doesn't, but no. He claims that he actually does know this one. And Kyle can sense the girls are all going to turn on Imrul immediately. So he's like, listen, buddy, this is the perfect moment to go ahead and expand on your views and essentially the background you have with relationships. Imrul tells all of them that he was actually an undocumented immigrant until he was 23 when he got married to his very first girlfriend. And Jesse, it's like record scratch. He goes, wait, you're married? And he technically isn't, I guess, but he doesn't actually answer that question. He says that he felt forced into the monogamy that he was in at that time and that they both realized essentially it wasn't for him. And he does claim in his confessional he didn't get married for the immigration status, but he is open to and believes in love and will be doing exactly what he is doing right now until he actually meets that person. Paige jokes that they've all never listened to anything so intently. And Jesse goes, guy got 2 chicks in one weekend. I need to listen to what he has to say. And immediately the camera goes vroom, over to Lexi, and she is not liking it at all. Okay. And I'm split on her reaction here. While I don't think it's that big of a deal what he said, you should truly pay attention to all the little offhanded things people will say. Okay. Jesse goes into Paige and Sierra's room to get Paige's bag for her, and he tells Sierra that he had a good talk with Lexi. So she asks him about it, and he says he thinks it was a good conversation where he wanted to see if they were in a good place where they are at. He tells Sierra that he aired his concerns about Lexi's jealousy and that she basically told him, like, yeah, I got to be open about it now at this point. Sierra tells him he just needs to make Lexi feel special. And how incredibly fascinating is it when we get to truly watch these games of telephone on our screens? Because what Jesse says next, I don't know if his little brain understands that he has now essentially pitted Sierra and Lexi against each other. This was the first seed. He really, I mean, the seed may have been there, but he put fertilizer and water on it. Okay. And I would be saying this regardless of the fact that we know Lexi is going to be saying she doesn't trust Sierra with Jesse. So that's what's coming. But Jesse tells her that Lexi told him everyone was saying he's such a boob guy. And then this is what I'm talking about that he adds in that he claims she said he loves Amanda and Sierra's boobs. I mean, like, really? This is something that I'm going to be very annoyed by if she only said what we saw her say and they edited out Lexi saying that about Amanda and Sierra. Because if we go off of what she actually said, Jesse is being a toolbox and using this just to flirt with Sierra. And you know what? What happens next further proves my point. Because Jesse then jokes with Sierra, Paige doesn't have boobs and I'm obsessed with her. Don't worry. Okay, can I say this? The way Jesse and Paige would actually be a really interesting couple to watch on the show, I cannot even tell you. It would be so much fun to watch Paige put that man in his place. But this made Sierra crack up and she just goes, I love you. You're just a guy. Which of course makes Jesse go, do you have a crush on me? And Sierra's still laughing. She's like, no. In confessional, Sierra says that she truly has never once thought of Jesse in a romantic way, but she enjoys how much they giggle together and how stupid everything is. And then she goes, I like stupid boys. I'm my own worst enemy. And back to them, Jesse goes, a little baby friend crush? I feel like Jesse truly just only wants what he can't have. That is always going to be his thing. Everyone is leaving, and we do hear that Lexi won't be there next weekend. It almost feels like Lexi's being like, guys, I'm not going to be here. Watch this one for me. Oh my God, Kyle tries to take off in his car with the back hatch open, and West's laptop bag falls out. God, Kyle, pay attention. Paige and Craig go to dinner in New York City. Oh, lots of people had lots of feelings about the conversation that happens here. Let me also say, I'm not huge on calling out fellow content creators, but I saw the way some women will find any excuse to hate another woman is beyond me. For a fan base that is made up of mostly women, some of these fans really just want to hate women. And it makes me sad. I saw a content creator post a preview that is for what's coming up on Southern Charm this evening, and how Paige asked Craig to make her breakfast. And while he was up and she was sitting down, she asked him to pour her orange juice. And how they found it so disturbing that she would ask him to make her breakfast and pour her orange juice for him. You guys, get a grip. First of all, do you even know if maybe Craig enjoys making breakfast for her? Craig likes cooking a lot and grilling and doing all those things. What is your problem? And the way I had to tell myself, Caitlin, just because you disagree with someone doesn't mean you have to let them know. And so I shut my mouth and scrolled. A lot of people need to learn how to do that. Is it a little painful to do it sometimes? Yes. Yes, it is. But I did it. You can do it too. But also, I'm just beyond. Get over yourselves. Men should be cooking for us more often, god damn it. Anyway, they're at an Australian restaurant and they serve kangaroo there. Honestly, y'all, there's nothing really extremely exotic I've ever eaten. Like, I literally went 6 years without ever eating pork. And I truly am one of those people that I am one bad PETA video away from never eating meat again. Like, if I'm eating meat and I start allowing myself to think about the fact that it was an animal, I am immediately disgusted. I get the ick and I'm done. Craig asks about the kangaroo, which the server does confirm it is, in fact, real kangaroo. And Paige just goes, I'll take the chicken sandwich. Same, babe. I mean, I'm not a picky eater at all. I'm just, I don't know, maybe I'm not the most adventurous. Like, no, the fact that Craig has eaten lion, I do have issues with that, Craig. That's not good. Okay. Like, why are people so obsessed with, okay, don't even get, no. Piggybacking off of Craig ordering a cappuccino and Paige informing him that it's frowned upon in Italy to have a cappuccino after breakfast, he tells her that he does pretty much what he wants. And Paige goes, okay, if you were like, I'm going to do this one thing, and your mom and dad called right now today and they were like, no, you should do the other thing, would you do it? And Craig's like, I'm 36 years old. Basically saying, like, I will do whatever it is I'm wanting to do. Guys, it hurts me to realize that Craig and I are the same age. It's not that I think he looks so much older, but I'm like, how? And it's about to get more painful because the pain I'm about to feel to realize how old Paige is here. Paige goes, in my 31 years, 31 years on this earth, my mom's never been wrong once. So why all of a sudden when I get married and have kids, would she be wrong? And Craig goes, because I'm going to have an opinion. I'm going to be your husband. Ooh, look at those Southern misogynistic values coming through that I agree with half of. Okay, I'll admit it. Because your partner's opinion should outweigh your parents' opinion. But as a parent, my opinion, of course, matters the most. Look at that. I'm a double standard, but I don't care. She says that she lives to make her parents' life easier and that she'll find herself making decisions and feeling bad about her parents and how her decisions may affect them. Her best example is that when Lindsay announced her pregnancy, that she immediately was like, oh, thank God it's not me. But then in the back of my head, I'm like, should I be getting ready to have a baby? Because like my parents really want a grandchild. So that guilt is in the back of my head. Oh, yeah. Okay. And Craig makes the very valid point that she shouldn't be having a baby because her parents want grandkids. Correct. I fully agree. You don't bring a human into this hellhole that is Earth to make your parents happy. Okay. She's, but that's when Paige goes, no, I'm not having a baby. Because she says she can't even find a 2-week time window to freeze her eggs. Craig says it's a bummer that they're both so busy and that it feels like they're each living a single life, and says that he doesn't want them doing events apart forever. But I don't know, like really, what events could they be doing together at this point? I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. Am I missing something? It's quite possible. I miss a lot of things. But Paige hears him say this and says that it sounds like he's ready for the next step. He says that as they continue to get busier, as you know, both of them, him with his career and her going on tour, that they need to continue to ensure they prioritize each other. He says this is more of a health check on their relationship at the moment to ensure they continue to prioritize their relationship. And she says that as busy as they are, she feels as though there may be a little tinge of him not being happy. You notice he actually doesn't answer that, but he does say that they're both 5 times busier than when they first started dating, and that she's just on this upward trajectory of getting more and more successful, adding, which is awesome. And she then goes, is it? He questions why she thinks he doesn't want her to be more successful, saying that he was just sharing it's a bummer to him that they can't go do things together as often. Yeah. She says she's aware, but that her career has taken a different turn, so she can't just up and travel like she used to. And she points out, you yourself just said, I'm 5 times busier than we were at the beginning of this relationship, and that it's why he has to come to her more often. And she does fully acknowledge that, and says she doesn't want him to ever feel like he's not a priority to her, but that he also needs to be okay with the fact that there are going to be some weeks she's not going to be able to come down and just chill in the backyard with him. But it's going to start taking a different turn in this conversation because Craig goes, I was just being honest. I would say if you were this busy for the rest of our lives, I wouldn't see this working out. Ooh, okay. Wow. So he supports her career, but at the same time, he kind of doesn't. He wants her to be successful while doing what he wants to do when he wants to do it with him, when he wants her to do it with him. And let's be real about that. That's the way sometimes it goes. He's clearly not happy because she's so focused on her career, and that's fine. But he is too. She's not getting on to him about how busy he is in his own career. He has had his own podcast tour with Austin, and he's got these stores he's opening. I'm just saying, it's a perfectly reasonable argument on both sides, except for the fact that Craig is really wanting Paige to be, at the end of the day, he wants her to kind of be that stay-at-home mom, but he's also very proud of her, I think. So it's a mixed bag. I think he's proud at this point that, look at what all my girlfriend's doing. Look at what she's accomplished. Look how successful she is. But at the same time, he's also going, but I want her here more. I want her attention more. I want her focus on me. Now, she does break the tension on this pretty well by joking, are you breaking up with me in an Italian? She does break this tension really well by saying, are you breaking up with me in an Australian restaurant? Obviously, he says no and says he knows that she's going to choose work over everything 9 times out of 10 right now, but then says, but if we're married and had kids, you can't choose work all the time. She says that it makes her feel like if she gets more and more successful, it's a bad thing. And that if she's not making him the number one priority, then she's going to feel guilty. He then asks her, do you believe me when I say I really don't want you to slow down? I think it's mixed. I understand both of their sides. I really do. But they don't have kids together. They don't even have a pet together. They don't even live in the same city together. There aren't responsibilities that are having to be divvied up at the moment. So I think Craig needs to know that it's only going to get more like this, She tells him, you want me to be really honest? I think that if I said, let's have a baby tomorrow, you'd be like, fuck yeah, let's settle down. Let's have a kid. Let's live in Charleston. Let's live a slow life. I don't ever want to live a slow life. I think, y'all, this breakup came down to them wanting two totally different things in life. And what they each want, completely and totally respectable and understandable. Okay. He then says, look, that is all the thing I want one day. But then, Craig, you lost me a bit here. He says, I just never thought I would be in such a submissive relationship. Oh. What? What, Craig? No. And Paige goes, should I apologize for being strong and independent? Yeah. Then he says he didn't realize that he would be giving up so much decision making. Now, here's what I will say. If he meant that he would only be making 30% to 70% decision making, that he's surprised by and didn't think this would be the way his relationship would be going, okay, I hear that. But if what he meant was that he didn't think he would be, not making the majority decision making, does that make sense? Then yeah, we have an issue. If you were to put it more so, I just didn't think I would be doing anything less than 50-50 on decision making, that would make more sense to me. So I'm not sure the exact context in which he meant it, so I can't fully judge that, but we're going to hope it was the latter. Right. Okay, besties, that's the end of this recap. I will be recapping Southern Charm tomorrow. Yes, I will, my friends. So come join me again. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on this little video here. And if you're listening, please do me a solid and leave a 5-star review. I love reading them when you have the moment to do that. I know it's hard. Sometimes you may be driving while you're listening. So, I'm not mad at you about it. We're still friends, but it does help if you do. I love it. Anywho, go follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and subscribe to YouTube. They're the same name at Besties by Caitlin. And Caitlin is spelled Caitlin. Check out the Pop Culture Besties merch shop on Etsy, where all the designs are made by yours truly. And friends, I will see you tomorrow. Thank you again for joining me today. Bye.